Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. We are tackling project management methodologies this time.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah,
You
it's like,
know,
let's just talk.
how to get things done
Yes,
and done
exactly.
well. And I know some of you might be thinking,
Right.
oh, no, not another, uh, lecture on Agile.
Yeah, yeah.
But don't worry, we're going beyond that, right?
We're going deeper than that.
We're going deeper than the buzzword.
Exactly. We're diving deep into a
That's right.
university-level document called
Yeah.
Project Management Bodies of Knowledge and Methodologies.
That sounds intense.
It is. But it's fascinating stuff, and we're going to break it down in a way that's easy to understand and apply.
Okay, so break it down for us.
Whether you're a seasoned pro or you're just starting out, this is for you.
I think this is something that everyone kind of has their own,
Yeah.
horror story about a project that went wrong.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, the one that spiraled out of control, missed deadlines.
Missed deadlines, budget overruns.
Endless frustration.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is about how to avoid those disasters.
Exactly. It's like having a roadmap for your project.
Yeah.
And that's where methodologies come in. They provide a structured approach, a set of best practices to keep things on track and prevent those disasters.
So a roadmap instead of just wandering aimlessly through the project wilderness.
Exactly.
You got it.
Okay, so before we get into the specific methodologies,
Sure.
let's talk about the Project Management Office, or PMO.
Right.
What is that? What is a PMO?
Have you ever worked in a company where every project felt like the Wild West? Like everyone was just doing their own thing, no clear direction?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's where a PMO can really be a game changer.
Okay.
It's like the central nervous system for project management within an organization. It ensures that everyone is on the same page. Everyone is working towards the same goals.
So it's not just a physical office. It's like more of a guiding force.
Exactly. It's more of a function.
Hmm.
It sets standards, provides training, and makes sure projects are managed consistently regardless of who's leading them. So like if you have different teams all working on different projects, but there's a PMO, it's kind of like the PMO, make sure that everybody's kind of following the same
Right.
basic rules.
Exactly. It brings that consistency.
Mhm.
And that's really valuable, especially in large organizations with multiple projects running simultaneously.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So it's kind of like having a dedicated team to champion good project management practices across the whole company.
Absolutely.
Now, the document also mentions professional bodies,
Right.
like the Project Management Institute, PMI,
Yes.
and the Association for Project Management, APM.
Uh-huh.
Are these something that we as, people kind of working in this world should be paying attention to?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, these professional bodies are key players in the project management world. They offer certifications, resources, networking opportunities. All of these things can really boost your career, like a stamp of approval.
Yeah.
It shows that you are committed to professional development. You're taking it seriously.
So it's kind of like getting your, black belt in project management or something.
Yeah, in a way.
But here's where it gets interesting. The document actually cites a survey that found that 54% of professionals
Wow.
in the field aren't members of any professional body,
That's a lot.
which is kind of shocking when you think about it.
It is surprising. You would think that more people would be involved.
Yeah, so why is that? Why are people choosing to kind of go it alone? Is it a cost issue?
It could be a cost issue.
Mm-hmm.
These memberships aren't free.
Yeah.
Or maybe they feel like they can stay up to date through other means.
Yeah, maybe they're just learning everything through like YouTube and podcasts.
Right, exactly. Or maybe they've just never really considered it,
Maybe they just don't know.
They don't know the value that these organizations offer.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of value, let's talk about what a methodology actually is.
Yeah.
This document defines it as a set of procedures, templates, even case studies. So it's like a whole toolkit.
Yeah, it's a toolkit for managing projects effectively.
Yeah. And the benefits are pretty clear. Like it can help you reduce costs, save time, deliver higher quality results.
Absolutely.
Who doesn't want that?
I mean, that's the dream, right?
Yeah.
So it's like having a recipe for success.
Yeah. Instead of starting from scratch every time, you kind of have a proven framework to guide you.
Exactly.
Have you ever worked on a project where a more structured approach would have been helpful?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, countless times, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners can relate to that.
Yeah.
You get into a project and things start to go off the rails, and you realize, oh, if we just had a little bit more structure, a little bit more planning.
Yeah, if we had known what we were doing,
Exactly.
we would have saved ourselves a lot of heartache.
A lot of stress.
Yeah.
So having a clear methodology can prevent those all too common project pitfalls, like scope creep, missed deadlines, budget overruns, all of that.
So it's about setting those expectations and actually following a process.
Absolutely.
Okay, so now we've got like a general understanding what these methodologies are, but let's dive into some of the specific ones.
Okay.
Starting with PMBOK, I feel like this is one that I've heard of,
Yeah, that's a big one.
but I don't actually really know what it is, so break it down for me.
So PMBOK stands for Project Management Body of Knowledge.
Okay.
And it's kind of like the Project Management Bible. It was developed by the Project Management Institute, the PMI.
Okay.
And it's been around since 1987, so it's been around the block a few times.
So this isn't just some new trendy thing.
No, it's stood the test of time. It's been through multiple editions, and it's evolved over time.
So it's like a classic.
Exactly. And the latest edition is PMBOK 7th edition. And it marks a pretty significant shift in thinking. You know,
So what's new?
it moves away from simply listing knowledge areas, and it focuses on performance domains, so actions and outcomes.
So instead of just like a list of facts.
Right. It's about what you do with those facts, how you apply them.
Okay, so it's more practical.
Much more practical, more action-oriented.
Yeah.
It's not just about knowing the theory. It's about applying it to real-world situations and delivering results.
Okay, so less theory, more action.
Exactly.
I like that.
Because at the end of the day, it's about getting things done.
It's about getting things done.
Right.
Okay, well, the document also mentions that the 7th edition introduced 12 new project management standards.
Yes.
What are those all about?
Well, it's about recognizing that project management is not static. You know, it's constantly evolving.
Yeah, things change.
Things change, exactly. New challenges emerge. New trends pop up. So these new standards provide a framework for addressing those challenges and trends. And it makes PMBOK even more relevant in today's dynamic project environment.
So they're basically keeping it up to date with what's actually happening in the project management world.
Exactly. It's a living document.
I like that.
It's not just stuck in the past.
Okay, so it seems like PMBOK is really trying to stay current with the changing world of project management. But before we get too deep into PMBOK, let's hop across the pond and explore another big name.
Okay.
In the methodology world, Prince2.
Prince2, yes, another classic.
What's the story there?
So Prince2 stands for Projects in a Controlled Environment.
Ooh.
And it's the gold standard for UK government organizations.
Wow.
But it's gained popularity in other sectors as well.
So it's not just for the government?
No, it's used all over the place, and it's all about meticulous planning, documentation control, and review.
Okay, so if PMBOK is about action, Prince2 is about
Meticulousness?
meticulousness.
Yeah, you could say that Prince2 provides this highly structured framework for managing projects from start to finish. And it ensures that every detail is carefully considered and documented.
Okay.
You know, it's like building a house. You need to have blueprints. You need to have every step planned out in advance.
So very structured?
Highly structured. And that level of detail can be incredibly valuable, especially in complex projects with lots of stakeholders, lots of moving parts.
So if there's a lot of people involved, a lot of money at stake.
Exactly. You want to make sure that everything is done right.
You want to cross your T's and dot your I's.
Absolutely.
But I have to ask, wouldn't that much structure be kind of stifling in some situations?
That's a great question. And it leads us to an important point. Not all methodologies are created equal.
Right.
And a one-size-fits-all approach doesn't always work.
Okay.
So there are pros and cons to each methodology, and choosing the right one really depends on the specific project and the organizational context.
So it's not about just picking the most popular one.
No, it's about finding the one that's the right fit.
Okay.
You know, the one that will actually help you achieve your goals.
So before we go any further,
Yeah.
let's take a step back and think about this. Are these robust methodologies like PMBOK and Prince2 really the best fit for every project?
That's a crucial question, and one that we're going to keep exploring as we dive deeper into this world of project management methodologies, because it's not always black and white.
Okay, so stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
We're talking about whether these big established methodologies like PMBOK and Prince2 are always the best fit.
Right.
This document even hints that, they might be overkill in certain situations.
Yeah, you know, imagine trying to use a giant earth mover to plant a few flowers in your garden.
Okay.
It's just not the right tool for the job.
Yeah.
Similarly, some projects might benefit from a more lightweight, agile approach.
Yeah.
You know, something that's a little bit more flexible.
So it's not just about picking the most well-known methodology. It's about choosing the one that's kind of the right size and shape for the project.
Exactly. It's like a tailor crafting a custom suit.
Ooh, I like that.
You need to take into account the individual needs and requirements of the project.
Speaking of tailoring our approach, let's circle back to those professional bodies we talked about earlier.
Okay.
The document actually goes a little bit deeper into that survey about membership,
That's right.
and it gets even more intriguing.
Oh.
So remember how we were surprised that 54% of professionals weren't members of any professional body? Well, it turns out that within that group, 30% had actually been members in the past, but they had let their memberships lapse.
So they were engaged at one point.
Yeah, they were involved, and then they decided to step away.
Interesting.
So it makes you wonder what happened.
Yeah. Why did they leave? Did they find that the benefits didn't outweigh the cost?
Yeah.
Or maybe their priorities shifted, or maybe their careers took a different path.
Maybe.
There are a lot of possibilities.
Maybe they just got busy.
Yeah, life gets in the way sometimes.
Yeah.
But it does highlight the importance of these organizations staying relevant and providing value to their members.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a need to adapt and evolve to meet the changing needs of project management professionals.
Maybe it's time for like a refresh of what these organizations are offering
Right, exactly.
and how they can better serve the project management community.
Yeah, because they do have a lot to offer. It's just about making sure that it aligns with what people actually need.
When I think about project management, I used to think it was just like Gantt charts and deadlines.
Yeah, that's kind of the stereotypical image.
But this deep dive is showing me there's so much more to it than that.
Absolutely. It's a whole ecosystem.
Yeah.
You've got methodologies, professional bodies, the role of the PMO, all these things working together to support successful project delivery.
So it's really about creating that culture.
Yeah, a culture of project management excellence within an organization
Yeah.
where everyone understands the value of it and they have the tools and the support to do it effectively.
And we can't forget the human element.
Oh, that's so important.
Like, this isn't just about processes and tools. It's about people working together effectively.
Absolutely. Project management is a people business at its core.
Yeah.
The most successful project managers are the ones who can build strong teams, communicate effectively, navigate the inevitable interpersonal dynamics that arise in any project. Because let's face it, projects can be stressful.
Yeah, there's always going to be some conflict.
There's always going to be some challenges. So you need to be able to manage those relationships and keep everyone motivated and moving forward.
So it's not just about being like a technical expert. It's
No.
about being a leader,
Yeah,
a communicator, a problem solver.
absolutely. It's a multifaceted role.
Now, this document mentions another methodology that we haven't touched on yet, PERT, or Program Evaluation and Review Technique.
PERT. Yes.
What's the story with this one?
So PERT is actually one of the earliest project management methodologies.
Oh, okay.
It dates back to the 1950s.
Wow.
It was developed by the U.S. Navy for the Polaris missile program, which was a massive undertaking with a lot of complexity and uncertainty.
So PERT has a pretty impressive pedigree.
It does. It was born out of a need to manage really high-stakes projects.
Okay, but is it still relevant today?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
While PERT might not be as trendy as some of the newer methodologies, its core principles are timeless.
Okay.
It's all about analyzing the tasks involved in a project, identifying dependencies, and figuring out the critical path.
Critical path, what's that?
So the critical path is the sequence of tasks that determines the overall project duration.
Okay, so the tasks that absolutely have to be completed on time.
Exactly. If any of those tasks are delayed, the whole project is delayed.
Got it.
So PERT helps you see the big picture, prioritize those critical tasks, and make sure they stay on schedule.
So PERT's like that friend who's always on time.
Yeah, always keeps things moving.
Yeah.
And just like a roadmap, PERT can help you anticipate potential roadblocks and adjust your course accordingly.
Okay. That's good because nobody likes surprises in a project.
No surprises are not fun in project management.
This deep dive is really giving me a new appreciation for the history and evolution of project management thinking.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it?
We've gone from the very meticulous planning of Prince 2
Right.
to the more action-oriented approach of PMBOK and now to the critical path analysis of PERT.
It's amazing to see how these different methodologies have shaped the way we approach projects.
But amidst all these different methodologies,
Yep.
how do you know which one is right for you?
That's the million-dollar question.
Is it about picking and choosing elements that resonate most?
It could be.
Or is there a more systematic way to approach it?
That's a great question, and one that we'll explore further as we delve into the criticisms and considerations surrounding the use of methodologies in project management.
Ooh. Okay, so stay tuned for more.
Stay tuned.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. PMOs, professional bodies,
Oh, yeah.
the nuances of PMBO and Prince 2,
Right.
even that time-tested PERT.
Mm-hmm.
But with all these different approaches,
Yeah.
can feel kind of overwhelming.
It can be, especially when you're just starting out.
Yeah, how do you even know where to begin?
It's like walking into a giant toolbox and not knowing which tool to pick up.
That-
There's so many options.
How do you choose the right methodology for your specific project?
Yeah.
Because this document even talks about some of
Yeah.
the criticisms around that one-size-fits-all mentality.
Yeah, one of the biggest concerns is that these rigid methodologies, they can stifle creativity and innovation.
Mm-hmm.
If you're too focused on following the rule book,
Right.
you might miss opportunities to think outside the box,
Yeah.
to come up with truly innovative solutions.
It's like trying to force a square peg into a round hole.
Exactly. You might get it to fit, but it's not going to be pretty or efficient.
And then on the flip side, some methodologies might just be too heavy
Yeah,
for smaller, simpler projects.
right. You wouldn't use a sledgehammer to crack a nut.
Right. So it's about finding that sweet spot
Yeah.
methodology that gives you just the right amount of structure
Right, the right balance.
and guidance without being too bureaucratic or restrictive.
Exactly. It's not about creating more work for yourself. It's about finding what works best for you, for your team, for your organization.
And I think it's important to remember that these methodologies are not set in stone.
Absolutely.
The best project managers are the ones who can adapt
Mhm.
and tailor their approach.
Based on the specific needs of each project.
So it's not just about memorizing a bunch of processes and templates.
Right.
It's about understanding the principles and knowing when you might need to bend the rules a little bit.
Exactly. It's about being flexible, adaptable, and always focused on delivering value.
Now, before we wrap up, let's circle back to Prince 2 for a moment.
Okay.
This document highlights some of its key features, like the emphasis on business justification and its well-defined organizational structure.
Right. Prince 2 is all about having a clear plan, documenting every step, and making sure everyone is on the same page.
It sounds like Prince 2 is like that super organized friend
Yeah,
who color codes their sock drawer.
absolutely. Prince 2 loves order and structure.
So it's not about being organized just for the sake of being organized. It's
Right.
about reducing risk
Exactly.
and making sure that the project actually delivers the intended benefits.
Prince 2 is all about maximizing value for the organization.
Okay.
And its structured approach helps to minimize wasted effort and resources.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today. We explored the roles of PMOs and professional bodies,
Yeah, we did.
delved into PMBOK, Prince 2, and PERT,
It was quite a journey.
and even touched on some of the criticisms around methodologies in general.
Yeah, it was a good overview.
Hopefully our listeners have come away with a better understanding of these tools
Yeah.
and strategies.
It helped them navigate all the complexity of project management.
I think we gave them a lot to think about.
I think so too.
As you continue on your project management journey,
Right.
I just encourage you to reflect on what really resonated with you from this deep dive.
Yeah, what methodologies or elements of those methodologies stood out to you?
Yeah. What might you be able to adapt and apply to your own work or your own projects?
Exactly, because there's no one-size-fits-all solution.
Right. It's about finding what works best for you, your team, your organization.
And never stop learning and exploring,
Yep, that's right.
The world of project management is constantly evolving,
Yeah.
and there's always something new to discover.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of project management methodologies.
It was a pleasure.
We'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration.